Have you been feeling extremely exhausted lately? Feeling agitated and frustrated for no reason? Your anxiety is a little bit higher than normal and you're feeling heightened emotions. These are all ways that your mind and your body is telling you to slow down, to take that rest. We need to take a break in order to recharge, to become our best selves. So it's time to take that time for you and to take a moment to reset. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. We tend to feel guilty if we're not being or if we're not doing something all the time, if we're not being productive. But those moments of pause in between, we can actually be productive too. If we try to do too much, we're going to get run down, where we're going to actually be forced to stop. And it's funny, I'm the first person to tell somebody to slow down, to take that rest, to reset and to recharge. For the last few weeks, I've literally been just going. And I've had to take that time to sit and listen to myself. And it's kind of been forced. I've been forced to sit down. And, I do take my rest. I do take a lot of me time. I do a lot of being in the moment. I think that's so important. But I was taking enough time to rest for the stuff I was doing. And then I started to do more things, but I didn't take more rest. And this is where we have to start seeing that picture. Like, you can't do more and expect to be able if you're not taking that extra rest. And we do feel that guilt. We feel like if we take time for ourselves, if we take time off, if we take that moment of pause, that we're letting somebody down. And I think that's the big one for me lately, is that if I don't show up, if I take a week off, or if I do anything like that, I'm going to be letting people down. But I'm letting myself down by not taking that time off. And I've had a very, very busy few weeks, and I haven't been listening to my body enough to take those moments of pause. And I mentioned this already, like, it took for me to go to the beach, to the beach and get really relaxed in the ocean, to come home and my body be in agony, for me to realize, okay, there's something trapped here. What am I hiding from myself? And I literally have been in denial for the last few weeks, or the last month or so, if not more, that I've been under stress. And I've mentioned this already. There is a such thing as happy stress. And what I mean by happy stress is we could be doing things that make us happy, planning things that are making us happy, being productive in ways that make us happy, but that's still stress on the body if we're not taking that rest. And what I've noticed, and this is collective energy, because it's not just me. I've noticed with a few different people lately, and the collective energy at the moment is we're being woken up to shaken up, in a sense, to rest. You know what I mean? To listen to ourselves, to listen to our bodies, to listen to our minds. And that's what, when it comes to stress or any kind of overdoing it, when it comes to our body, our mind will react as well. Like, not only will our body react with physical symptoms, stress is one of the biggest things to cause illness or disease within the body. We're going to notice a lowering of our immune system, but we're going to notice that those extra triggers, that extra frustration, those bouts of anger and bouts of emotions, and that's the one that I've been getting the last few days, is like, the way I describe it is, when I used to get the flu, right, I get the really bad flu, when your body's just really weak and you can't move, like, you just can't move. Every time I used to get the flu, I'd start crying. Like, when I get to that stage of being completely defenseless, or, just not being able to move or have no energy, I cry because I'm like, I can't do anything, I can't move. And that's kind of the way the energy's been coming up the last few days. It's like, just this random bouts of tears. And I'm like, why am I crying? I'm not unhappy. And it's just like, I'm just tired. It's like, when you have a child with a tantrum, this is what happens as adults as well. If we do not get rest, we have tantrums. We really do. And it's kind of time to listen to that. Is your body reacting? And this is really collective at the minute. Like, I've seen it with myself and so many other people. Ascension symptoms are heightened because we're not listening to our bodies. We're getting these, like, for me, it was aches and pains. My immune system was lowered, and I kept doing. Every time I said to myself, I need to take a rest, I just kept doing more. And, over the weekend, I literally switched off. I switched off from everything. I turned off, like, my phone was on silent, but I turned off all the notifications anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because we always have that habit of checking our phone even if it's on silent. You know what I mean? So I turned off notifications so that there was no icons on my phone if anyone spoke to me or, tried to reach out. That's the way I was this weekend, because not only does our body need rest, our mind needs rest as well. And like, I even went back on social media last night I shared a couple of things, and I could feel that it's like this cloud that consumes you. It reminds me of the movie Thunderbolts, and that shadow energy just consumes you. That's what it's like being on social media when your body and mind need a rest. It's this big cloud of heaviness that comes over you, and you really need to remove that. You need to find things in your day to bring that energy back to yourself. Where do you need to take a break? What are you doing too much of? If you're doing extra, you need to do that extra rest as well. And I suppose that's where I've been feeling guilty, is that I was taking the right amount of rest for the energy I was exuding before, but I never acknowledged the fact that I needed more rest because I was doing more. And that's where I was feeling. I was like, I'm getting plenty of rest. I was getting plenty of rest for what I was doing before, but I need more rest because I'm doing more now. So it's the importance of this as well, is you shouldn't feel guilty. You should only feel guilt if you've done something wrong. That's a fact. And we're creatures of feeling guilty for no reason at all. Feeling guilty for things other people have done. And it's just like, no, if you've done something wrong, guilt is there to show you how to make amends. But if you're taking rest for yourself, how is that doing something wrong? How is that actually you're not hurting anyone else? We forget that we need to fill our own cup up first, right? And if we don't put ourselves first, we're not going to be able to give to others. And it's that simple. We need that wake-up call to remind us of how important our bodies and our minds are. And you cannot be your best self for others or yourself if you don't take that time for you. And you see, there's magic. I've said this before. There's magic to be found in the moments of pause. There really is. Being is doing. The more we be in the moment, the more we actually take that time. And I love this. All my downloads come in, and all my information and all my ideas come in. They don't come in when I'm rushing. Well, they do come in when I'm cleaning, but that's because it's quiet. But no, they don't come in when I'm in the middle of doing stuff all the time. They come in when I'm sitting. They come in when I'm relaxing. They come in when I'm in a zen state. So that could be when I'm cooking. That could be when I'm cleaning. It could be when I'm just completely in the zone. But oftentimes it comes in when I'm actually doing absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? I'll be writing for days about the things that I'm gonna speak on. Do you know, that kind of way? So those moments of pause is where the magic actually happens, where your creativity happens, where your flow state happens. And we have to give as much credit to the moments of pause that we do to the moments of doing. And that's really a fact. And how I've said this so many times, and I'm saying this to myself as well, if we keep overdoing it, we're going to get to the stage where we're injured or too tired, too exhausted, too much, our immune system is so low that we're weak, that we can't, and we're forced to pause. And this happens over and over again, and I've done this in the past when I wasn't aware, is that your body would get so fucked up that you would actually be on the verge of collapse, and then you'd actually be forced to, and that's the thing, if you take a moment of pause, so like a day of pause in between your heaviness, or whatever amount of time you need, and then go back, you're fresher, your energy is more alive, you're more motivated. But if you wait till it gets to the stage where you can't do something, then you're going to be forced to take more than a week off because you're physically not able. So we need to take the moments of pause in between so that we're not getting to a stage where we're forced to take extra time off. So and this is another thing I've said before, is we rush around the place thinking that we need to get something done yesterday. But the more we rush, the slower we go. And that's a fact. If I'm rushing around trying to do something, I'll end up hitting off stuff, I'll end up dropping things, I'll end up delaying myself over and over again. And if I'd have just literally calmly did the things I was doing, knowing that I get the thing, whatever I needed to do, done in its own time, then I would actually get it done quicker. So this is how, like, our bodies aren't machines. We use our bodies as machines, but we need, like, it's the same with anything. To keep anything going for a long time, you need to maintain it. And, like, for example, your car. Your car might need a service once a year. Your car might need to get its new brakes done. All of these things need to be done every so often in order to make sure your car is safe and runs properly. You have to do the same for yourself. So that means eating healthily, making sure your environment is a comfortable space to be in, not overdoing it. And as I said, like, this is what was, I suppose, big for me over the last 2 weeks. I've been going through happy stress. So I've been getting things done, things are flowing, things are really good, but I've been doing more, and it's productive, but at the same time, my body is still under stress. My mind is still under stress. So therefore, I need to de-stress more than I used to, because I'm doing more now. We have to accommodate for what we're doing. And, as I said, that guilt comes in. Why are we so guilty? Why are we feeling so guilty for taking a moment to pause? Why, like, you know what I mean? It's like everything will still get done. And I keep saying this to myself, like, if I take one afternoon or 2 days off of social media at the weekend, nothing bad is going to happen. It really isn't. And it's such a nice, like, that's another thing. It's such as I said about your mind, disconnect your mind from the things that are causing stress. Disconnect from social media. Take that moment to pause. I literally spent 2 days on the couch watching movies, and I did not look at my phone once. And I have the apps on my computer as well. Didn't even look at them. Didn't do anything connected to work or social media over the weekend. I literally just watched movies. And I needed that. As I said, all weekend I was in that heightened sense of emotion. And I was like, it was like that tantrum energy. It's like, I'm so tired. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not unhappy. I'm just tired. I just really need. And it was a mixture of my body and mind being tired and the guilt I was feeling for wanting to take time off or take some energy for myself. And it's just like, you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel bad for taking that moment for yourself. And there's another thing with it as well, that heightened anxiety and those heightened triggers. If you're being triggered easily, if you're getting agitated very easily, it's a sure sign that you're going through stress or that your body is under a little bit of tiredness. If you're going through heightened states of anxiety, and this happens to me, I don't know what it is, when I go through these periods of slowing down, it's like, you go through this freak out mode. It's like, nothing's going to get done. And then it's that root chakra is activated, and then all your anxiety comes up, and you're just feeling like this codependent child, and you're like, oh my God, I want somebody to mind me. Do you know, that kind of energy? But all you have to do is mind yourself. Literally slow down, breathe, and tell yourself everything's going to be okay, because it is. It really is. And it's just, oh my God. I was stressing out. Like, there's some things that were happy stress over the last month, and some things that were heightened stress to do with other things. And the things the negative stress I was having were just, oh my God. It was a waste of my time and energy. We actually waste so much energy worrying about what we have to do or what we think we should be doing. That takes its toll on ourselves as well. We forget how much our mind can actually affect our physical energy. If we're constantly in this state of stress and worry all the time, that's bringing us down. That's depleting our energy as well. That's lowering our immune system. So that's why it's so important to rest your mind as well. What can you do today in order to just chill out? Take that moment to pause for yourself. Do 5 minutes of meditation, watch a movie and just completely get lost in it. Do something that takes you completely out of your head. And that's it, and obviously something healthy, not drugs. The first thing that came to my head there was like, I used to take drugs to do that. No, just watch a movie, get out in nature and relax. You know what I mean? Whether it's you've been overproductive when it comes to physical stuff or emotional stuff or whatever it is, because this has been a heightened week for me anyway. Not only have I been my landlord's home and we've been doing things to do, painting the house and doing the decking and the gardening and all that kind of stuff. I've had help to do that. So that's obviously physical, but there's a connection there to some of my past. So I'm actually going through another layer of healing because of all this stuff that's come up as well. So not only is my house going through this transformation, so am I. So like I've gone through a lot of physical stuff over the last few days, but over the last week. And I've also gone through a lot of emotional stuff over the last week. So I'm literally, there's a big red flag here saying, sit the fuck down, relax, heal yourself through this, and take that time and energy back for yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's only one section. There's other things that I've been doing over the last few weeks as well that have been adding to my doing list. And I have to come back and be a little bit. I have to give myself that's another thing. I've been healing in other areas as well. One thing after the other, not giving myself enough pause in between. And I literally have to just take a step back from everything this weekend. And I have to say, look, you're doing so much. Chill the fuck out. Take your time. Take that space in between. You know what I mean? And like, this is the thing with any kind of things that we're going through, especially on an emotional level. We can go through a healing thing and it might take us a couple of weeks to do that one section of healing. But if we're constantly trying to heal one thing after the other without giving ourselves that pause in between, that can be really hard for us as well. And, that's something I'm only realising the last couple of days as well. I need more time to pause in the middle. And I've always given myself that. But I don't know what it was lately. It's collective energy anyway, but whatever it is lately, we're kind of rushing. We're kind of thinking, I need to be 10 steps ahead. I need to do this. I need to get this done. But at the end of the day, everything is happening as and when it's supposed to. And I've just really strong feeling that we need this moment of pause, this moment of recharge, to reset for the next step. Because our next step is going to be big. There's some big energy coming in. There's some very, very fast moving, fast paced energy coming in. Our lives are going to get busy. Our lives are going to get exciting again. You know what I mean? And we're given this moment to take that break, to prepare ourselves for the next step. But to remember that it's so important to look after ourselves. We cannot do anything for others or ourselves if we do not look after our body and minds first. So take that time, take that moment of pause, take that break. It's time to rest and rejuvenate, and it's time for you. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help in your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path. I'd also like to mention that I'm doing my first webinar on Friday, the 8th of August at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. I will be speaking on healing after narcissistic abuse, inner child work, inner teen work, and shadow work. Hope to see you there. If you need any information, just comment below or comment on the post in the community posts.